So this is Morgan Brinker calling the Hubbardston Public Library Board of Trustees comprehensive policy meeting to order at 7:05 p.m.
Can you see the screen,
I can.
everybody?
Yep.
I can't, but I might sign off and come back on.
Okay.
So while Connie's doing that, Krista, do you want to introduce yourself just so that it's on record, and then we'll go
Sure.
around?
Krista Gogan, and I'll be taking the minutes and editing the document.
Thank you, Krista. Chris K.
Chris Kissel, Library
And
Trustee.
Maria.
Maria is present.
Yay. Chris B.
Chris Barbera, Library Director.
And Connie, are you still on?
I think she's frozen.
I think she might be as well. Yeah, I think she's successfully logged off.
Mhm.
So while we wait for Connie to log back in, and where we've stated before, but for the record, as we review these or as we review the policies for the library, it's a reminder that it's a living document and we'll make edits, but this is going to be a continual process. So at any point in time, as trustees or other members would like to bring to light, we have a subcommittee for the policies, and at our regular trustee meetings, you may bring forward suggested edits, additional policies that we should continue to edit and or add to our policies, or if you would like for us to review and possibly amend or edit, remove content. So it should be viewed as a living document, not a static policy.
And maybe we can add that, we've looked at most of these a couple of times, but then Connie went through and did some, proofreading, I guess. Taking some notes here too.
The other thing is, if we won't open up to general discussion, is there any discussion from Maria, Chris, Krista, or the other Chris with regards to policies?
They looked fine to me. Of course, I totally missed the mission statement that we had on the
Yep.
document, the town report. So,
I really liked the way Connie added the see also other policies at the bottom. I don't know if that's something that we can just incorporate into this. We still have the table of contents, but I thought just having the links at the bottom seemed like a good idea.
I don't have anything to add. I think
thought they
it's
were
a
pretty
fantastic
complete
document.
when I read them. And I do like the latest change on the reference to the laws and the other things that were added. Thought that was a good change.
Welcome back, Connie.
Maria, did you say something too?
I did. I said I don't have anything to add. I think it's great.
We can see you, Connie. Can you see the?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm here now. Sorry. Yes, I can see everything much better than I could before. So thank you.
So welcome. So Connie, if you just want to introduce yourself, and as we begin, I opened it up for comment. I'm going to have this aside for notes. And then Connie did the heavy lifting, and I applaud you with regards to the edits and proofreading, because that is not my strength. So thank you very much for going through this and reviewing it and taking the time.
So Connie Strip Matter Library Trustee is here in attendance at the meeting.
Okay. And then Connie, would you like to lead this? Chris is going to be kind of making edits as we go, but where you kind of took the lead in this latest revision and edits, would you like to lead us?
Sure, I can
do
certainly
you
try
feel?
and lead us. So, I guess if we scroll, I didn't make any change. I mean, I updated the table of contents after I made some changes. I made very minimal changes to the titles of the headings, just added like a comma here or a comma there. But what I did do is I left all of the comments in the policies just because that was a conversation that was happening. And so as I was going through and editing, I didn't want to delete the conversations because I didn't want to make that decision. So, but I guess it looks like under the first page, consider where to add. So I did not address that when I went through and did the edit for the where to add the separate heading for programs and facility use. So, but I think where that's probably fine. But maybe if you scroll down further when we get into the mission, vision, and value statements, we did note that in the mission statement we had a grammatical error. So I went ahead and changed it to needs regardless of age, abilities, or background, which I think that was a suggestion that Krista made of two options. I picked one of them, and so I think it reads better under the mission statement now. I can't remember what it said before, but it was grammatically incorrect, whatever it was.
One extra word in there. So can we resolve that?
I think so. I think if everyone's cool with how the mission statement reads, I mean, grammatically, if we're cool how the mission statement reads, we can resolve it. So
I feel like it can be resolved. It's not changing the content of it. It's just fixing grammatical errors.
I did make
yes,
I made a note before, like throughout the policies, occasionally we would refer to ourselves as we, as opposed to like Hubbardston Public Library or Hubbardston or Board of Library Trustees. But I wasn't sure if we wanted to change the we statement in the vision and the value statements, because they're a little bit more like personal and a little bit more identifying like of our core beliefs. So I left that open for us to discuss as to whether we want to change that language to take it out of the we format, like the Hubbardston Public Library will be a reliable resource ensuring blah 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 blah, or if we like having that idea of our vision statement and our value statements are more like core and central and we believe. So I'm curious about your thoughts on that. Because when I initially went through, I was trying to change everything from we, and then when we got to here, I stopped. I was like, I'm not sure if that feels right. So
I feel like, especially where we are grouping the mission, vision, value statement together, and they should appear kind of together, and we're having it in this, it's the start of our document. The we statement, I feel, reads better than continuing to name out the library, is my opinion.
I agree.
I just wonder, I think we need to have the name of the library on the same page. Then I think we is good. You know, like it doesn't.
we do have it in the mission statement.
Oh, I
The
see.
Hubbardston
Okay.
Public Library
Okay.
is.
Okay.
So it does appear there.
The other thing that we can do, so at the bottom of every page, it doesn't have it. So we discussed at the very beginning of this, and I think maybe that's the other thing, is we can have a footer that states Hubbardston
Yeah.
Public Library trustee or Hubbardston Public Library policies.
Mhm.
I think,
Okay.
I don't think that we have to say comprehensive policies, just simply policies. And then we have either approved date for the initial one and or revision date, so we know which edition and which is being referenced.
This is such a long document, and I agree with that, because if one page is taken out and used for some purpose, we don't really know always where it came from.
Mhm.
So I like the idea of having a footer.
And the other point of having like a revision date or note of it is if it's ever screenshot or somebody captures it and uses it,
Mhm.
but say that they're using it and it's saying that it's 2026 version, but they're using it in 2045, it's very likely that there's a newer revised.
So I don't think we want to take the time to do that now, but we can definitely add that. Should we
I would
resolve
agree with
this?
that. Yes.
So Carissa, I'm making notes as well. I don't know if you want to make that on the side, but I'm making it as a note for one of our sub policy meetings.
Okay. Should we keep this comment or?
I think if people are comfortable with the we and the vision and the value statement, then we can delete it. If
I
there's
feel it's
still
resolved. Yeah.
Okay. And this is kind of what we just discussed. So.
yes, yeah. So I didn't just. I mean, I really when I went through, I was doing like proofreading and kind of like trying to get some consistency. I didn't like reconcile all the comments as I mentioned earlier. So, to Chris's comment, I do like the general conduct policy. I do like the idea of making it a little bit more user friendly, or a little more proactive and like patron roles and responsibilities as opposed to general conduct.
I'm open to the change. Chris, Maria, your thoughts?
I agree with the change.
So we're just going to change this to patron roles and responsibilities.
So yes. And I guess my question I would ask, like overall, is this going to be one big document, or are these going to be positioned in certain places, like on the library website? Because I'm just wondering if we have to have policy repeated every time, or if we can just say patron. If it's a policies document, can we just say patron roles and responsibilities, and that would go throughout the document? Like removing the word policy every time. I'm just asking. I don't have a thought on that, but
I view it as one document. And that I agree, the individual policies could be removed as reference. And then it was my vision, I think we've had previous discussions that eventually this would get turned into like a PDF or other document that could be referenced underneath our webpage as library policies. Getting to the specifics, minutia of how it would be interactive to where people could like go from the menu of individual policies is a I don't know exactly how we're going to have that, but
So I guess the question, so is the question is like, do we want policy at the end of every heading? Or do we just want to have the general idea?
I would remove policy from each header.
Okay.
I
So
agree.
it would be,
Took away the comment. Okay. Oh, I think.
And then,
this is
Krista,
my-
your comment there, I thought about that a lot, and I was struggling to figure out like how to phrase that, but it could be guiding principle. I mean, guiding principles can work, and so like I'm okay with I'm fine with guiding principles.
It sounds kind of lofty.
I,
mean,
I you
basically-
know
Just to make it parallel, because these other sections have.
I agree with that. Yes, and I looked at that for a while and I thought about it, but I didn't come up with an idea. So clearly, I skipped making a recommendation.
I think it's okay without.
There is I mean, to Chris's point, there is missing parallel, like the parallelity of it all. I mean, could it just be like general expectations?
I'm okay with either one of those, but I agree having that heading above those 4 bullets makes sense.
Well, it's got to be a different,
Same font. And yeah.
sorry, different font, but
We can go back and fix the font later, you know.
we could just call this part general conduct, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna close that and we'll just say, well, I don't think I need to note we're gonna fix the font. But maybe
I
should.
don't think you have to do. I think that's just something
Or
we
if
just
we do it right
later.
now, it's under normal text, so I think it just has to get turned into like heading 2.
16.
Yeah.
Okay. Except it's the wrong.
I think if you go to heading 2 and if so, I would do an undo.
Mhm.
And then do normal text heading 2 update to match.
Oh. Great.
There
Thank
I
you.
think that gets
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, great. I learned something new.
Yeah. I don't think I made. I mean, I did make some wording changes, like minor wording changes, but I don't think I made anything major here that I can remember.
You mean on the rest of this page?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the comments are below if we want to click on the ASP, see where that takes us, but
Oh, it's further down, I guess.
okay.
It's in the next section. Okay, so we can go to the next section. Oh, look, here's the, you know what? Here's the footer already. So maybe it just wasn't on that first page.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We'll just make sure that's on all.
Sorry.
Yeah, so just to the child safety and conduct policy, I just made a stylistic change. We did have, so we were very inconsistent in our use of, we did like child or parent / guardian sometimes, parent, comma, guardian, caregiver. I just made it parent, comma, guardian or caregiver. And then we, and itemized the bullet points. So it was just a stylistic change. I didn't change really any of the language in that, I don't believe. It was just making it more parallel in
Okay.
reading. So,
Okay. Should we take away policy here?
Correct.
yeah, I would take away policy here.
And I did add, oh, I think it was a different section, but I did add some links. There were some missing links.
Mhm.
I don't think it was here.
So this whole part, there was a big conversation going on here. So like I didn't resolve any of the conversation because I didn't want that to be forgotten in case the people had strong points on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I will point a recommended change I make below that. So,
So move down.
I mean, so when you get to so instead of having a sentence saying patrons are encouraged to review related policies such as
Oh.
programming, building, so forth, I just was recommending that we make a statement saying related policies and documents, list the policies and this link to them within the document. And it just gets rid of some words and just kind of makes it a little bit more like,
It's
I
clean
thought it
and
made
to
it
the
a little bit
point.
tighter, but I'm open to whatever. Like that was just a suggestion. So
I like it.
Yeah, I
it
like
doesn't
too.
work. I mean, I'd be curious later on. It doesn't work perfectly throughout every policy. So I'd be curious for your feedback on like other spots where a good example of this is actually Chris, if you can scroll up a little bit. Someplace in this document, we reference the ALA stuff.
Oh, I saw that right here. Right
Yeah,
here.
and the question is like, do you want things like that to be listed at the bottom as like national policy, or do you just want to keep it where it's at?
No, I don't envision like having necessarily the links for outside. So again, part of our role will be to make sure all the links actually link to and are still valid.
Mhm.
But I don't feel like we need to reiterate the related policies and documents. I would envision that that would be like our in-house, so like the general liability waiver, that would be a document. But the general conduct, the circulation policies, those would be what I would see as interrelated policies to see in reference.
Okay,
That's how I would envision it.
okay.
Because then it gets into like, should we be linking and having them see every single mass general law? And those are linked, and I feel like that is the appropriate way to have that viewed.
Perfect. Yeah, and so for the rated policies, we can link within the same document, and point them
Mhm.
down to wherever, which you did a little bit to an extent. I think there's one or two that weren't linked, which I didn't go back and do. So,
I think
And
this
I
is
think
really, oh, go ahead.
that goes back to like the discussion of when this document is made public and is on the website, is that interrelatedness of having each of the policies available. There's that table of contents that would bring you to the individual policy, but it's the entire document itself as a functionality. But that's a discussion with regards to the functionality and how, so that may change how it's viewed on the website and how patrons interact with it.
mhm. So if we're okay with like having at the end of each policy that's appropriate, saying related policies and documents and then listing them and then linking to them within the document, we can go
Yeah.
ahead and accept the
That comment.
changes at the very bottom of page 5. If we're okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
The issue, like all these comments, it just had to do with this, like there's a part about parents supervise, or the adult supervising the child in the library, and then there's the unattended children. So there were two separate things, and I don't know if we fully separated them. I mean, that's what all these comments were about, I think.
Mhm.
So I would envision, why don't we put a pin in that? Let's circle back to this where that may have more of a discussion, and let's focus on like the grammatical, because I could see getting stuck on kind of like,
Is this part of the same?
The internet policy, I didn't change much because I wasn't sure if that was actually from CWMRs and whether or not it should be changed.
It is actually from them.
Okay.
At least it
And I
was
don't think
when
I
we,
made,
copied it.
sorry.
No, I mean, I could double check. Maybe they've changed it since we put it in here, but it is their wording.
Okay. So the only thing I might have changed in there was, so at one point I was trying to reconcile verbiage between patron, user, and individual. And then at some point I stopped because it's like, there might, like, I think here I kind of was like, I'm not going to mess with this because I don't think I should. So,
Mhm.
so I didn't make many grammatical changes to this. So this should be fine.
And do we want to take away policy here?
Yep.
we're gonna, yeah.
I see what you're saying. So sometimes it says user and sometimes it says patron.
And then sometimes this is individual, and so, and for the most part, we use the word patron in our policy. So I tried to change most of the language to patron, but there's a few times where it felt off, where I didn't feel like it was appropriate. And so I did. And so it's not 100% consistent, but I kind of went through and tried to change it to the best of what I thought was best. So. I don't think there was any changes to cell phone policy.
Should it say cell phone use?
I would think we should substitute for use, yes.
Yeah.
I think sometimes we might need the word policy.
I don't think that we necessarily do when the entire document is going to be policies.
So just food and beverage.
Yeah, that does sound different, yeah.
Could it be food and beverage use? I mean, it's what you
Use,
did with
yeah.
the above.
Yeah.
Use.
Or you say food and beverage in the library, but it makes it
Yeah,
longer. So
Let's see if it fits. Sorry, maybe I thought it was on capsule.
I don't think I made any changes to this. Like, I don't think I mean, anything I made was like grammatical. It wasn't like. And just say, as to give you an overview of like changes that I did make, just as Chris is scrolling through. We talked a little bit about like the patron, individual, and whatever use. We had a lot of times where we had Hubbardston Library and Hubbardston Public Library. So I just
Mhm.
made a change to, like, it's always Hubbardston Public Library as opposed to Hubbardston Library. Changes to, we made references to library trustees, board of trustees, board of library trustees. I just made board of library trustees, the language. So those were some changes that I made, like, as far as like just consistency and language.
Thank you.
Library director, I capitalized because it's a title. So every time, so I capitalized library director just because we were capitalizing board of library trustees. In document, they reference executive assistant, town administrator. So those were all titles. So they're capitalized. Library staff, I put it in lowercase because that's a collective noun and wasn't a title. So like just explaining if you see differences in like why libraries capitalized sometimes and not other times, those are some of the reasons. So Food and beverage, yes, food and beverage. I'm not sure where those comments are.
This, I think, is the same as above, right?
I think.
Oh, it's from, sorry, it's in the next section, so.
Okay. Oh, okay. If you need to undo it, you can just probably do Control Z if you want the comments back.
I didn't, they should show up, they just moved
Okay.
down here.
All right, the solicitation policy, like that was a hot mess. And so I think I made some changes, putting some like, so in the first paragraph, we tell people are encouraged to see other policies. I moved that down to the bottom with the related policies, just
think we
to
can
keep
get
that
rid of-
consistency. So I think that can be okay. I think, Chrissy, you had that subject too.
Krista, right,
And
2 seconds, right where you are, if you can just remove one more punctuation mark, the period,
Okay,
oh, yep.
where?
right where the cursor is right
Oh,
now,
there, I
before
see.
we
Yeah.
move on.
I get it, okay, thank you.
And that way we don't have to find it again. Thank you.
Yeah. Following, I think the second paragraph is okay.
Okay.
And then
This is also that paragraph.
I feel like the changes to this bullet point, so permission to solicit in the library or on library grounds by organizations whose mission aligns with the library or those organizations which provide a benefit to the library or the local Hubbardston community. Like that, I wasn't 100% sure what we were trying to say in that, so I tried to change it to the best of my ability, but I'm not sure if I was conveying what the goal was.
I think it means
The
like,
word mission
Girl
appeared a
Scout
lot in
cookies
that
or something.
bullet point, so I was just struggling with that. So
I'm sorry, say that again?
the
So I
word
think
mission.
that
Go
the first
ahead,
bullet
Morgan.
point, the point of that kind of got lost in the verbiage, I believe. And so trying to dig out what it is and what we're trying to say.
I think the word permission needs to go because we put the following are subject to prior approval
Mhm.
by the library director. So if we just say solicitation by organizations.
I think with that change, it sounds better with the other changes too. Taking permission out and starting it with solicitation and keeping the other changes. It's clearer.
It should say, I'm just going to put it here, solicitation in the library or on library grounds by organization whose mission aligns with the library or those organizations which provide a benefit to the library or the local Hubbardston community.
It feels incomplete to me though.
Yeah,
Like
grammatically, it's incomplete. Yeah.
I mean, I guess this could be like the Friends of the Library or, you know, a Girl Scout troop selling cookies or something like that. That's what would be under this category, but it's a little hard to tell.
So I agree with what we can take out. So it may be cleaner if we take out, because we've already stated in the paragraph above, with prior approval of the library director in consultation with the board of trustees. But I think that we need to be a little bit more clear. So we're in this first bullet point, we're saying who is allowed to solicit and where. So they're allowed to solicit, so we may need to say solicitation is permissible in the library or on library grounds by organizations whose missions align with the library, or those organizations which provide a benefit to the library or the local Hubbardston community. Because
I
we've
think,
already established that's through the library director and trustees. So now it's a matter of where is it permissible.
I mean,
I think
but it
that
has to
works.
be approved, is permissible, okay.
So then the point of the first one is of saying where and by whom.
Oops.
Except we want to, yeah. And I agree. If space allows, just end it there.
Mhm.
Yep. So
So I did make a
I-
comment there about how that should be phrased. I said community information center, and I was just like, should this just be the library? Or I wasn't thrown
I
off by the community information center.
I feel like we should just say if space allows and not
Okay.
say where, because then it's a matter of, depending on where we have it right now, like there's information that's out in the adult reading room on the table / in the entry hall, if we would want to say, but as we get into various spaces. So I would not like
Oh, so just
use the
take this out.
policies to
Oh, yep.
necessarily, so just leave it with the if space allows.
Yep, that sounds good. So that was helpful. And you got an extra period there.
Period.
So
Yeah.
one other thing I did too, just as things come to me as we're talking through this, I did put a bullet point. I did put a period at the end of every bullet point.
Bullet.
Every bullet, just because for screen readers, they like to have periods at the end of bullet points, so it helps them figure out like when the next thing starts. It's like an
That was
ADA kind
one
of
of
thing.
the edits I was going to go back and do, but then I felt honestly overwhelmed by the.
Yeah, so it was
So thank you.
intentional by my part, because normally I would do like if it's a sentence, it's got a bullet. If it's not a sentence, it doesn't. But
Mhm.
we've been doing a lot of accessibility at the library, my library, and one of the things I read was having a period at the end of a bullet point helps digital readers. So
Mhm.
that's why I did it. So
Okay.
So we can take this out because we have it down below.
yep.
Yep.
Under the anyone soliciting signatures for political petitions, the two bullet points conflicted with each other, so I just kind of changed the wording above to hopefully make it more
Clear.
consistent. So
Yes.
just make sure that makes
agree.
sense. So
Yeah. So it's just kind of reversing. So it sets it sets the precedence above.
mhm.
Exactly. I agree.
So we're okay with this one?
Yep. Because we're also just taking out, we're not modifying the Mass General Law, we're just
Nope. Yeah.
abbreviating. So yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh, you made a comment on that, Krista. So I put everything, when I did a related policies and documents, I just put it into title case as opposed to all caps, just for consistency.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's good. Okay. I don't think
because
it
the all
was
caps
related to
sometimes
this,
are a
but
little bit like good for titles, but sometimes annoying when you're reading
Yeah.
like other documents. So,
sorry. It's to go to-
do I have a comment in there?
It says replace for both patrons and staff with that patrons can
Oh.
expect to receive from library staff.
Oh yeah, no, right. That's in comment. That's in reference to your comment, Krista, below.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fine. Is that,
So we can resolve both of those and then just remove the policy from the header.
did I do it up here? Solicitation. I don't know if we just wanted to, if it just says solicitation, I don't know if we,
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that feels a little, promiscuous, I think. So,
So,
just put a comment, a question mark.
what's
Yeah.
another word for that though? Is it like
Guidelines.
Yeah, okay. Are we okay with that?
I think the only changes I made in this area was just bullet pointing and making kind of consistency in the bullet points so that like verb agreement and stuff like that, I think is what I did in this area. I don't think anything big happened.
Okay, and we'll just have
the
to add
further we
link.
get in and try to find words such as guidelines and use, the more I'm starting to circle back to wanting policy there.
I know.
Because we're starting to, especially where we have at the bottom, like related policies and documents. And now as I go in further, I'm just going to throw my 2 cents. It
Yep.
doesn't feel like it's settling correctly.
I think you might be right. So. Unless there's another word for solicitation, like promoting and marketing in the library or something like that, or,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. So,
Yeah. So just,
I made
so it
a
might
note.
just be keep the word policy there, and it just feels redundant at points, but maybe it's helpful. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I
The other
can
thing
add
is if
that.
we want to specifically refer either patrons or to the public or to somebody else, is if I feel like it would be stronger if we took something out in context and or if we had the filming policy that we had to post somewhere rather than having it say something like guidelines. So
Yep.
if we kept them as policy standing alone when taken out, I think it would feel stronger.
Yep.
So that's just,
And I'm sorry, I think you're right. I think when I'm looking at this page we're on right now, I feel like it's not public services policy. I'd be like library. Is it library services policy? I'm trying to figure out, like, it's like our service to the community expectations policy or something like that. Because it's describing what we are expecting to
agree.
provide. It's like, I don't know if it's public services because that doesn't feel right. Community
or
library
public
services.
engagement.
Yep, something like that maybe.
Mm.
first sentence says public service guidelines. I guess we could call it that, but you don't
Well, if
like
you're keeping
public-
the word policy, I think we're keeping the word, I mean, if we're gonna decide to keep the word policy throughout.
Mm. So you said public
I know it's-
engagement.
Yeah, so maybe it is what it is. I mean, it's what it is, so.
I mean, we could call it customer service, I guess. Would that be more clear?
Chris Barbera, do you have a thought? Not to put you on the spot, but
We had public
Um,
services policy. Maybe patron services.
Well, not necessarily because we're also we do things at the fair and we do things at the field day. So uh, I wouldn't want to limit it to patrons. Um, I like public engagement, but customer service works well too. But that really doesn't that I don't think that customer service should be a policy. You know,
Well, that's kind of the point of this policy, really.
it certainly is, but I'm not sure that most people wouldn't look at, would it be the customer service policy? Are you going back to that, or are you going to stick with the just customer service?
No, it would have policy, I think. we
All right,
decided.
customer service policy would be acceptable. But again, this is all your decision. That's my 2 cents.
Mhm.
But you have to use it.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. You guys design it, and then I implement it.
Right.
Yeah.
but
I mean-
but Chris, if there's something we're implementing that you're like, there's no way this is implementable. We need
that's-
to know that.
Again,
I haven't
that
gotten
is,
anything yet.
that is also part of that cycle too of I think a little bit more feedback comes in once it's a like living document. It's one thing to read it, but then when we start like referring back to it, and if there's use, anytime there's anything that comes up like a flag, I would say bring it up immediately to the trustees for review. It shouldn't like
Absolutely.
be held up.
Mhm.
And I think that's part of that cyclical. I mean, on a regular basis, we're going to have to check the links to make sure that they're still valid. We're going to want to make sure that the language is current and reflects our current values. And then just see, does this fit? And if it's not workable at all, I think that should be one of the triggers and flags for an edit.
I totally agree, but until we get it going, I can't tell you how it is going to work in real time.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair. So,
And it's kind of like going back to this policy of like, I understand the redundancy, but then as we take things off and we're looking, it feels like a stretch of, well, what word could we use? And then I think almost something is lost. And when we're looking at individual or pull individual policies out, they would, in my opinion, they would read less strong without
Mhm.
the word and header of policy.
Yep.
And especially where at the bottom we're saying, please refer to the following policies and documents. I just think, I think that although it's redundant, it's the better method.
no, I think you're right on that. So,
Can we
I
go
noticed
back
we lost
to the
Maria.
first sentence?
First sentence of which one?
Customer service, if that's what
I'm
we're going to
sorry.
call it. Should we change that language
Ah.
in the first sentence to be the
out to
same?
the customer service guidelines. Yeah, I think you're right.
Thank you.
Notice we lost Maria. I don't know.
Yeah, a few minutes ago.
I don't think I made any significant changes to the volunteer policy. Yeah, I feel like that was fine. I mean, aside from like grammatical changes or whatever, but I don't think nothing substantive there.
This was just moving it from the bottom to the top. So
Mhm.
okay with
Which
that.
I think I did,
Yeah.
yes. So I think,
Yes.
yes, I think you had that at the bottom and I think I moved it up to the top. So I think that's fine.
The ad space can be resolved.
Yeah. This is where I think I was making changes to like, we had like Board of Trustees, Board of Library Trustees, Library Trustees. I think I made a lot of changes there, but
Hmm.
Does this have to be
I-
capital B?
yes, probably maybe there. Yeah.
I think we copied that from the town. Okay, so this can go. Oops. Should we move on?
I think
Yeah.
so. Okay. So
this
in the
should say
borrowing
policy.
policies,
Sorry, this should say policy.
yep.
Correct.
All right, go ahead.
I just made a sentence comment at the end of the first paragraph, like that felt out of place to me because this is about borrowing library books. This is about library use and children in the library. And we talked about that earlier. So it feels like to me like that could be replaced or deleted, but open to conversation on that.
I'm okay with that. I'm pretty sure this sentence is shows up in the computer.
We have it up above. I mean, we have
Okay.
we have a program policy, we have computer policy. So it's there elsewhere and it's not, but under borrowing, it's not related to borrowing.
It doesn't fit.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
So we can just delete. Yeah.
Yep. And then what did I say there? Oh, so this was something where you said this should be at the bottom, it should move to the top. And so I moved the sentence to the top and I got rid of a sentence that talked about the spirit, which I didn't know what that meant. So it might be at the bottom of the policy, like the spirit of the policy or something like that is.
Oh, yeah. That was
like,
probably a carryover, trying to figure out like an introductory paragraph for introducing the policy.
Yeah, I think it was at the very, because this policy is pretty long. So this is at the very,
Yeah.
very
Scroll
bottom.
down.
And I
Scroll
moved,
down.
so at the very bottom, it said move it to the top. So I moved the first one sentence to the top and the other sentence felt like off to me. So I think it
we
even
get rid
goes
of
on
this?
further. So, I mean, there's a lot to go through in this policy, so I don't know how you want to just go through it like point by point, but some things are addressed at the bottom. But maybe we just go back up to the policy and we just work
Okay.
through it, but and see if it feels right.
Sorry if I'm making anybody nauseous. Okay.
So what I did was I took the responsible borrowing allows sentence that was appeared at the very bottom of the policy and I moved it to the top.
I see.
And there was another sentence that I think I deleted that should appear at the very bottom of the policy. And if we decide we want it, we can bring it back up to the top. So,
Okay. So I think that we can resolve this by having it where it is.
Okay, so you had that comment too.
Mhm.
oh, and so, yeah, so Chris, I missed that. Chris Kiesel, I missed that part of the you and the your and the.
Which reads fine, but it is, kind of a deviation from where we were impersonal before.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And if we were trying to eliminate the we's and the other policies, but it does read okay. It's not a,
Yeah.
I think in this case, you're talking about someone's library card. So, like your Hubbardston library card. So maybe
Well, do we only have it the one time? If we only have it the one time, we could just say the Hubbardston
there's-
Public Library card. Oh,
Well,
we have it in
it-
there.
I think
Oh.
it's
Yeah,
several
we have it
times
a
in
couple
this section.
places. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, you're talking about someone's personal address and things like that. So, but we
I
could
would
this
change
to
like
the-
your Hubbardston Public Library card to the Hubbardston Public, yes. But like
Or
your
a-
personal identity, like I think that's valid, you know.
Your photo, keep that.
Yeah. You will need to bring additional documentation.
I mean, I guess you could say like the patron will
your name.
need to bring, but I do, it somehow in this place, you feels a little bit better, you know, but
I feel like it does read better of you will need. I feel like in this instance, it's appropriate. Especially like how to apply. I feel like it reads a lot more clean than if we were to try to replace the you with patrons will need.
A photo. you know, we can just
Exactly.
read
Well,
it.
this was the question about if people didn't have, if they were homeless or something.
Yeah.
But there's also the question at the top about residents. So do people need to be a resident to get a card?
I think we talk about that below, don't we?
Okay. So can we resolve this comment?
Yes.
This we can. This
Resolve?
is one to where right now we're going to kind of resolve, and it's going to be one of those as and if things come up, we're going to address as need be. So going back to Chris K's of you and yours of the how to apply, I still feel like it reads appropriately, and I feel like it's more clear for patrons of saying you will need to bring additional documentation such as etc. Under the valid CWMR library cards, we do use patrons will receive a reminder. So again, this is one of those, it might be the time of the night, but my mind is playing tricks on me of should we do the U because I really like it in the first one, or should we do patrons? So I'm just going to say it's kind of like having policies at the header of like I'm reading the U and I really like it in the how to apply of using you, your, but then
Say
it
a
feels,
reminder will be sent or something.
yeah,
I think that works. Yes, I think we can rephrase that to a reminder will be
reminder.
sent to verify information to reinstate the card,
Verify contact information.
Okay.
you know, and just
Thank
trying
you.
to get rid of the pronouns.
And the last bullet,
You know, actually, I mean, even on how to apply, please bring a valid form of photo identification, proof of local address. If no, do you know what I'm saying here is like, I don't know if I can edit this or not, but like, please, no, I don't think I can.
Yeah, that's where I feel like
But it
under
says
the
how to apply, please bring a valid form of identification.
Yeah, I can
Bring a
share it with
valid
you,
form of
Connie.
photo identification.
You want me to share it with you so you can edit it?
If you can, yeah. So I'm just
What email should I use?
Connie
Email?
Dustra. Oh, I have it, but I have a commenter. I don't have the
Oh, okay, here, I'll just
just
fix
give me
it.
an editor thing.
Yeah, sorry
So
about that.
this is why it's so helpful to have people like looking at things. Like I look at things, but then let me just refresh.
Chris Case had a comment too. What was your comment?
lost it. I'll remember.
Connie just disappeared.
Reporting a lost library card. It could say a lost library card can be reported by phone
Oh,
or
yeah.
in person.
Sorry, didn't you know I was just trying to edit the Google Teams document that was on the screen rather than the actual document itself.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. Okay.
So,
We did change a lost library card, a lost card. Oh, can be reported.
Can be replaced.
yes. Okay.
I mean, I feel like we could, I don't know how Morgan feels about this, but we could go over this section and change the sentences to be, I don't know what the right word is, more impersonal or more directive or something like that, if you want to move on.
Yeah, I feel like that might be a good use of our time. So I
Is
do
that,
feel,
Yeah,
given
that's
that
fine.
it's 8:07 now, and typically these meetings we've gone for about 90 minutes, so we have about another 20 minutes and we're about halfway through. I think that the trustees have a good idea of how we've edited these. What may be useful is, I don't know if there's other sections that you really want to draw our attention to, Connie, but Krista and I likewise could take this back as the sub policy group, go through it to make sure. So some of my notes are to have like the policy to just go through, try to resolve the comments, see if we notice any other edits. I have a note with regards to resolving the personal pronouns, the you, your, patron. Um,
can we just go through
yeah,
and look for Connie's comments? Because I think those are not
absolutely.
new, but you know.
Yeah. I'm done with that. I tried, I guess I realized like further in the document, I should like show myself when I'm making comments. So, so let me just, so where are we on
We're on,
page 16? Where are we at?
yeah, this is still borrowing, I think, out of
Okay, yeah,
system.
borrowing goes on for a bit. So, okay, so on page 16, I was a little bit confused because in the, I think the second paragraph, it says, if you wish to request an item that's not listed in the CW Mars catalog or through Massachusetts Comcat catalog, library staff can search for the item outside the region. And then in the fourth bullet point, we say, or not available through Comcat. But I feel like we said that in the opening paragraph for out of system interlibrary loans. But I also know that I don't know a lot about this, so I might be not understanding fully. So,
I think this is, well, I mean, Chris knows obviously what this means, but it's like if it's in Comcat or any catalog in Massachusetts, people can search for it themselves. But if it's not, then you have to go, you know, out of system or out of, you know, like at Fitchburg State, you probably use like one of those
right,
in library loan services or something.
right. But it's saying that we would request an item from outside Massachusetts or not available through
Oh, I
Comcat.
see.
And I
See.
guess I'm confused because above we say
I get it.
it's
I
if
get it.
something's not available through Comcat. So, but I might be not understanding. So
No, it doesn't belong there. I think you're right. But Chris, does this follow what you do? I mean,
Very, very rarely. In fact, the last time someone looked for something out of state, Jane was library director. There is a procedure. I have never implemented it because no one has ever asked for this kind of
okay.
request.
Okay. I think this bullet point is about whether there's a charge or not.
Hmm.
So that's why the or not available through Comcast is in there,
Okay.
because if it's
Um,
available in
If
There
it's
Comcast,
may
not
be a
available,
charge.
no, if it's
oh,
not
will it?
available in Comcat, there'll be a charge because Comcat and Massachusetts are pretty much almost the same thing. I think there's one other consortia that may or may not be part of Comcat, uh, but it's a very, very small one, and people are leaving it. It's mostly academic and just like 2 or 3 public libraries right now. Rutland is one of them.
But that's exactly what we're saying. We're saying charges for copying loans, postage may apply if they're requested from outside of Massachusetts or if they were not available through Comcast.
But I think that they are. I'm just not sure if Rutland is available through Comcat or not because it doesn't. I don't think I've ever done a search on Comcat where Rutland had a copy available for us to borrow.
But we're also not saying that there will be. They're saying that they
It's a
may
clunky
apply.
sentence, but I think it does belong there somehow.
So it's leaving it open so that patrons are aware that there may be fees, is the statement associated with this. Is that accurate that there may be fees?
Mhm.
Yes.
Because it allows it. That also allows the door to where if things were to suddenly change, we're not stating that the fee is like $1 or something like that. It's leaving it open
Mhm.
and it's a may apply. So there might
I
be
think we could just
instances in which
reword
there is
this.
no fee, such as from Rutland.
I'll
Is
just
there
put
a
what
fee
we
from?
just,
I don't think that this needs to be rewarded though.
okay.
So the way it's reading is just simply having space of saying that there may be fees. We could even get rid of there's no charge for services within state at this time, but the charges, I
That
feel like
makes a difference.
I think it's valid as it is and as it stands right now. Is we're
So it could
stating
just
right,
say charges for may apply or are not available through Comcast. Does that make it more clear?
I think so.
Yeah, there probably should be an interlibrary loan form, but it's such
Yeah.
a rare
I'm
occurrence.
yeah. The only thing I was gonna go back to is in that first paragraph, or in that first paragraph, we say if you wish to request an item that's not listed in the CWMR's catalog or Massachusetts Comcat catalog.
Mhm.
So that's when you do an out of library system. Maybe I'm just not understanding. We can move on. I think I don't get it, but let's move on. So
I think you're right. They might be kind of mixed together, right? Is that what you're saying?
so just looking at the broad things of we're asking patrons when they're asking for items and things like that, just check, is it available within our catalogs? Okay. Being aware, limit the items, being aware that charges may apply. Um, we can't say when they're going to arrive. Um, that patrons have to be in good standing. So that's basically summarizing what the guidelines are for submitting a request.
But like this last point, like you can't request these things through Comcast for the out of system loans because they're not in
Correct. You
Comcast.
cannot do that.
Correct.
So I think maybe that's what you're saying, Connie. This needs to be taken out of this.
well, I think I can be, yeah. I think the first paragraph is throwing me off because it says if its item is not listed in the Mass Comcat system, library search can. It's fine. I think it's just me, so I think we should just move on, so. But under the bullet point of if you can request, I think there's things we need to look at, so.
Okay, so I'm making a note, slash, I already have a note on with regards to page 16. And it kind of Comcat, I'm just going to say review entire page, though.
Yeah. Because most of this is really for things that the patron can't do for themselves. So this really doesn't belong in there. Shall we go down? Are you
Sure.
still-
I think there I just revised I just did some revising to the sentence and this. I didn't think we needed to, we have the library things addressed above. So I didn't think we needed like things like such as telescope, so.
Okay.
I think we need maybe a space between the last
last
bullet point
bullet.
and, yeah.
Yeah.
So these go with the section above. So I'll just scroll down.
And that equipment use, I just moved C internet policy to the bottom.
The bottom. Yep.
And then I think I deleted a sentence and then, yeah, I think that, yeah. Oh, I had a note just like this under handle equipment carefully to prevent damage. We were talking about a computer. It just seemed not. I was just. I don't know that we can handle. I don't know that you can injure a computer. So I just didn't know if we needed it. So.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what other. I mean, I guess this part was confusing to me. Well, it does talk about the copier and things like that, I guess.
I mean, it talks about the
I'm
copier
okay with
below, but that
removing it.
bullet point is specifically related to computer use in a responsible manner.
Okay.
And I'm
And we
just not
already
seeing people.
We already state using the computers in a responsible manner. It reiterates like to handle it to prevent damage. We've already requested that they use it in a responsible manner. I don't know that it needs to be restated.
Okay.
Oh, so actually I would delete that. Handle equipment carefully to
Oh,
prevent
sorry.
damage. I would delete that, I think. Is that what we're saying? That was
think-
my recommendation.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yes.
I just deleted the comment.
Yeah.
So
And
this
then I
got
think I
moved
put the
down
general
below.
conduct policy at the
At the
bottom.
bottom. Yep. And add resolve.
Like that.
Yep. And then, yep, I think that's fine. Oh, I think I just reworded it, or somebody
It just
reworded it, me
moves
or
from
somebody
the
else.
end to the beginning.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep.
I think
Yeah,
my
Chris-
comment here came from one of the recommendations on the MBLC
Mhm.
trustees, I don't know, website. So if everyone else is okay the way it is, I am too.
I think it's mostly this,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But if it's not clear, then maybe it needs to be emphasized.
I think that's enough.
Okay.
I think we may want to just keep that comment for a moment. Because it may be a point to where we actually want to look up and just review with MBLC with regards to if there is greater language. So this is something that Chris and I can go back to. I just want to leave that in there for a moment.
Okay. The first bullet point, I just tried to consolidate and make it more precise and more aligned.
Okay.
And same with in keeping with our mission, which I think we state in our mission, so. It's
Okay.
just,
Okay.
um, positive reviews, I think, was that someone else's, was that Chris's
I
comment?
think that's
Well-
Chris's.
Under high demand, there's a thought about how do we rephrase that? I suggested highly requested, but I don't know if that's where we wanted to, what we want it to be.
Yeah. Here, Chris B, this is where we need your input.
Okay. Where are you at?
Would we prefer the phrasing of highly requested or high demand items?
For
Let's see,
bestsellers,
items in-
sometimes, the word bestsellers is used in.
I would say I would lean towards high demand. I like that's the word that happens because that's one of the criteria that I use is, what books are being held the most on CW Mars, or what are the books that are being requested by our patrons specifically, and I can curate based on that.
Then that's the language I think we should go with.
Okay, sounds good.
High demand. Okay.
Okay.
I made just a little bit of changes to those bulleted items. I think we had like,
Sorry.
let me just look, oh, I just made some bulleted item changes. We had like reputation as author.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Let me see. I'm just looking to see where I'm seeing things. Oh, no, it might be someplace else. Never mind. I think we're good here. I just reordered some of the bulleted items and broke
Okay.
things out that were kind of two different concepts in the same bullet point. So,
Oh, yeah, this was interesting. I looked at two different policies, and one said that that the trustees are responsible for the collection, and another one said that the trustees are responsible for establishing the policy.
I feel like that came from, there was a presentation training on policy development that we presented to the trustees that goes over the circle, and it goes under the roles and responsibilities of who. So under the trustees, yes, it's our responsibility to come up with the policies. Yes, it's the library director. So it went under whose roles and responsibilities. That's where that came from, I believe.
But this reads that the trustees are responsible for the collection.
I'm reading it as the library director is responsible overall to the board of trustees so the library director is responsible for the development of the collection. I'm not reading it the trustees are responsible for the development, but it's a role that the library director has to the trustees to do. That's how I read it. The library director is responsible overall to the board of library trustees for the development of the collection. So you could
what if we
even
use
get
the word reports?
you could
as
even
opposed-
get rid of, but that is saying the whole relationships. So the library director is responsible to the board of trustees in order the library director has to develop the collection. That's how that reads, does it not?
I'm not sure it reads like that.
Yeah, the
How about if
library
you say that the
director is
library,
responsible overall for the collection, development of the collection and reports to the Board of Trustees or something?
or why
It's
don't you
like
put
stuck,
out that the Board of Trustees uh, tells the library director, and I'm sure you can wordsmith this better than I can, the library Board of Trustees delegates the responsibility of the collection development to the library director or words to that effect. But
I
start
think
it
that's
where
good.
yeah,
this
okay.
it's being you guys are in charge and you're telling me what to do is basically what it write it up as nice as you want, but that's basically what it is.
All right. So with that being stated, where we're at this point, and the way that this meeting has gone, it is evident to me that there's still quite a bit of editing and wordsmithing that still has to take place for the policies. Does that feel like it's the consensus of the other trustees? I mean, right now we're still actively wordsmithing and editing this. It's not.
Well, we're basically going over Connie's comments, I think, but how much is left? Can I scroll
We
down?
still have. We're almost 2/3 of the way through.
Okay.
Are you suggesting maybe one more meeting to do this?
I don't know. So, I don't know how we want to necessarily proceed. I feel like the way it's, I feel like where we're at, I was anticipating setting up with Krista anyways, a sub policies because there are some new policies that are, ready to be edited. I feel like perhaps Krista and I can take this and we can go through and try to edit it. Ideally, what I would like to try to do is to have a trustee meeting to where we have come through or come into it, having read it with like very minimal going throughs, um, to get it to the point to where we can present it to the trustees for a vote. I don't think we're at that point. So I feel like this still is a working document that needs to be edited. There's some things that we now need to go back to if we want to go back and edit for the policies, and still some points. So I would advise that Krista and I take this back, we edit it, we then present it back to the trustees, unless there's a better suggestion of how to go through. Because I would anticipate at minimum one more meeting just to have the document as it stands now without the addition of additional policies. But there are some new policies that are starting to come in, so that's where I'm kind of like, I don't know. I
I think we should work with what we have. I mean, the subcommittee can separately work on new policies to integrate into this
Yeah, and
document.
we
But
will
I
be.
think,
So do you guys want to push, so I want to try to, I I envision at minimum we're going to need another hour and a half to just edit it as it is, but there's some edits that I have noted. I feel like a better use of our time is to break back down, edit this document, and either come back and have another meeting. I don't know if it's one or if it would be more than one. But that's where I'm yeah. I feel that keeping in mind it's 8:30 now, we probably at minimum have, if we continue and we've lost Maria and we don't have Tom in this meeting, how do the other trustees feel?
I'd be willing to meet again to do the final editing. If you want to
Same,
incorporate all the comments that were made that are resolvable. Yeah, it looks
We
like we
could,
do need another meeting.
I
So
think
I
one more
have it
meeting would
as
be
we're
fine.
on page 20 with some editing, but this is like a change of wording.
Let's just
So it's
finish this
not
one
just,
page before we adjourn,
I'm
if
sorry?
we can. Maybe we could just finish this.
We can, but that's where I'm saying we're on page 20, kind of
Okay.
midway into page 20, but we're working to try to wordsmith. It's not just so where I envision and what I would see as an efficient meeting is if it's at a point where we're like, I feel like this is still a lot of changes and edits versus just a going through grammatical changes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that's where I'm kind of like, at this point, I see it as we need to go back and edit it. So we can finish this page, but I feel like it still needs, we're in the process
Sure.
right where we are now of developing the policy. It's not just an edit.
Mhm.
So where we stand now, the Board of Library Trustees delegates the overall responsibilities / that wording of the development of
To
collections.
the library director. Although it does
I
sound
think I think it does benefit from having another meeting to
Yeah.
work through this final document, you know, because there is
Yeah.
some still language that needs to be addressed.
So that's
Um,
where,
I think
yeah.
we could start again on, like, I think I agree with Krista, let's finish this part off because after that it goes into some forms, but then we could start up at our next meeting on page like 22 or 23.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of wrap up language changes, and then there shouldn't be, so as far as like the proofreading goes, like the proofreading is for the most part done, depending on what language change we make, you know, but it'll take another quick pass through, but it won't be the substantive proofreading that was done earlier, like trying to, you know, reconcile language or provide consistent language,
Thank you
making
for
sure
doing
like,
that.
you know, so like all that part I think is for the most part done, but so I would agree one more meeting would be helpful to just go through the rest of the policy, make sure there's no major disagreements in language, or in policy ideas in it. So
Mhm.
I don't know. But I think we made good work tonight. I mean, we haven't gotten through 20 pages in a while, so you know, let's celebrate that. Go team. So and I think if you and Krista want to meet, that's fine. Like to go through and tweak some stuff. So
Well, just they're mostly, it's not grammar, but like style and things that we discussed, but we didn't want to take the time to do.
sure.
I don't know, we got like 3 different sentences here.
So that's where, if the trustees are okay with, if you want to highlight this, Krista, what I'm going to suggest is that you and I come back and let's work on the wording of this. Okay? Let's move on to the collection, maintenance, weeding down through the end of this page. Okay? So the gifts of new books to the library may be accepted if they meet the standards of material selection criteria policy. I'm trying to read the bullet and get caught up to what section we're at.
I could say one thing I did add to that sentence is I added the word new.
Mhm.
In that the sentence below it says does not accept donations of used books. So I was just
Right.
trying to reconcile a gift would be a new book
Mhm.
versus a donation would be a used book. But I don't know
So-
if that's appropriate or not. So that was where, like, I was trying to reconcile the differences between those two sentences.
I think that's good, but Chris, do you want it to say at the discretion of the library director? I mean, do you take any gift of a new book, or do you, because this says if it meets the standards of the collection.
Right. We have certainly received books that were gifted to us by publishers,
Mhm.
by the authors that they wanted to advance their writing on, and I'd have to go in and see. And it's exactly what the statement says is I'll accept a new book that was donated to us, but I want to make sure that it's by someone who's not going to tell somebody to cure cancer by painting tattoos on their skin.
Mhm. Well,
There's
should
got
it
to be
start
some.
with at the discretion of the library director?
Um, I don't think so. I mean, I think it states it quite. I read this sentence and I totally understand it. That they want to give new books, that's great, but they got to meet our criteria selection policy, and if they don't, we put them in the book sale.
Yeah.
You know.
The only thing I would do is I would change the material selection criteria
Yeah.
policy to collection development policy, which is what
Yeah.
we have listed as a policy, I think.
Yeah, I was just going to check on that. Okay.
And I guess my question is, does the library not accept donations of used books? Like,
In the past we have, because we haven't had this kind of collection development. I'm not sure if that particular line was in the old policy or not. Because we have accepted in the past, we have accepted gently used books. Not books that are moldy, not books that are dusty, not books that are old.
You don't want boxes of books, right? So-
Exactly. And even when we put the sign up on the book drop, we still get requests, people donate their books, which
Yeah.
then go into the book sale.
Would we
could we
want to?
say, could we say gifts of new or used books to the library may be accepted if they meet the criterias of the collection development policy, and get rid of the last sentence and say gift of new or used books?
Or
Well, the
new or
collection
gently
development
used?
policy doesn't talk about the condition of the books.
Okay. Then we need to make condition of the books in the sentence below that, so.
We can certainly not accept used books to be added to the collection. We can just limit it to new books. That's not a problem.
Okay.
But you don't want it to say at the discretion of the director.
I think it's this. I think that would weaken the statement.
Yeah.
This is how we accept gifts. This is the rules that we use to determine what the gifts should be.
Okay.
Chris B, having
Yes.
heard you, do you feel like we should review the collection development policy to make sure that condition of books is addressed in it?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I think that if you were to put new and used books in this particular statement, then yes, you should readdress that. But if you limit it to just new books, then there's no need, because they're always
Okay.
in good shape.
Right.
If someone brought you a gently used, basically new bestseller that you could add it without it being written out in the policy, something that you
See, if it was a bestseller, chances are it's already going to be on our shelf.
already have it. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay. So are we good with these two statements?
I am.
Oh, so this is where I put the links.
Okay, thank you.
The first two are together in one document, so I just slightly edited it to show that they were together. that here.
Okay.
Oh, yes, this definitely should be formal.
Yes.
That's a bad mistake.
Should we make singular patron, a patron who wishes?
Okay.
Yeah, a patron. So a
and
patron who wishes to make.
then it should be a formal. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. I was just that comment for this for the duration of this process. We state this above, like in the beginning of the policy, and it was just it felt redundant. And we say it under in the 1, 2, 3, 4th paragraph. Questioned items will remain in circulation during the reconsideration process. So either take it out there and leave it down here, or I don't think it needs to be in both places, is what I'm saying. So it could be removed from the 4th paragraph, or it could be removed from where I noted it. So. And Chris, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
So.
I do. This and. I think it could.
I mean,
come
it could
out
be
here.
you could put the questioned item in the paragraph above, and get rid of questioned items, and then keep it in the bottom paragraph if you wanted to do it that way. Because I think there's some emphasis in making sure people know that it's going to stay in the collection.
Yeah.
It also
And
makes
in the
sense
first
to have.
sentence, it's kind of lost. So.
It also makes more sense to have that stated under the process and the procedure for it.
Yeah. Connie, do you want it? Can you edit it, or you?
I think so. Yeah, let me just see. So I'm going to get rid of this, make sure this feels right.
Mm-hmm. I almost feel like
that would work.
I feel like we could get rid of that statement right there of the library has an established request for reconsideration procedure described below,
Yep.
and just have the other as a header and move on.
And maybe these should be bold when we're looking at it.
Yeah, I don't think, are they even header? They are.
That looks like they're a header, yeah.
Yeah. Same with the reconsideration of library materials too.
Okay. And then I think this part then works.
Yeah.
Because we don't state that, but it's here and it is clear that it's going to stay in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can.
So we can resolve.
And then here I just put in, I think, or somebody
bill
put in
regs.
American Library Association, just so we know where it's from.
Yep.
Okay.
So both of those could be resolved.
Blank page.
Was there anything on page 22, or can we remove 22?
I think we must have, it just,
had an extra space.
Yeah, we can get rid of it. Yeah.
So where we're standing at 8:45, do we want to push forward and continue? How do you guys feel? I mean,
I was just scrolling down to see what else was left.
I believe
in terms of comments.
I believe we had 33 pages or so.
Well, this part, this non-resident library use is still kind of uh, confusing. And the waiver. There's only 29 pages now.
Okay.
Huh.
All right.
Look at us being efficient, so.
Yeah. There's not a lot of comments left.
Do you want to continue and see how far we can go? How do people stand with regards to time? Chris, you're still at the library. How are you doing?
You're muted, Chris.
Sorry, I'm like, wow, there's no echo. Feel free to keep on working. I actually blocked out till at least 9 o'clock, so don't worry about that. And my husband knows what's going on.
So with this form hasn't really changed much. There's a request for a link. There's some comments with regards to the edit and formatting. Part of what I would suggest is we're going to want to see how this translates into the web form as well, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I would not like spend too much time on it because that may change as well.
Okay.
Programs and facility use, I think if I remember correctly, I think I just made bullet point changes to make sure things were more consistent. But I don't think I didn't make any substantive changes to it, so.
So these should be bold.
Yeah, and guidelines should, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is probably one we're going to have to go revisit once we get the basement. I'm sorry, the lower level.
Correct.
Set up,
Correct.
so,
Yeah, that's for future.
Yeah.
But we should move with it as it stands now, not knowing the time.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is that with the point I highlighted, patrons' misuse of space or violation of any library policy, that part, any library policy fell out of place because we were talking about facility use.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought that maybe should be deleted. So.
I guess maybe we, like maybe we were referring to the general conduct policy or something like that if we wanted to.
Or solicitation.
Right,
Or
but
any
the
of the
policy's
policies.
about using space, but
Or
or
public
maybe it should be
surface, or
more
whatever we
specific.
call it.
I guess I can see what you're saying, so I'm okay with that. But reading it, it felt weird. It felt out of place to me. But
So perhaps the
But it's
wording can
okay.
change on this, but the intent is the use of space, and specifically violating any of the library's policy. This is where I would change from policy to policies.
Maybe we could
Well,
just
maybe
turn it
not, never mind.
around. We could just say patrons using the space must follow library policies.
yeah, must adhere to library policies.
So instead of misusing, maybe patrons
Must adhere to library policies, or they may be warned, asked to leave, restricted from using the space.
Yep.
patrons must follow library policies
Or maybe
when
warned,
using the
asked.
pace. I'm sorry.
What? Oh, go ahead.
When using the space.
Or they may be warned, asked, or restricted from using this space.
Is that all one sentence or?
And then we take out the.
How about misuse of the space? Patrons who misuse the space.
Yep, I think that works.
May be warned, asked to leave, or restricted from using the space in the future.
Okay.
I don't know if it'd be in the future because it could be asked to leave the space in the
That's true.
Yeah.
present. So
Patrons
I'm
must follow
happy with
library
that wording.
policy. Okay. Oh, that still needs to be done. I'll just leave that in there.
We can resolve the once the bottom floor. We're aware of
Yeah.
that.
Right.
I
You know,
don't think I
this-
made any changes to this. If it did, it was just minor. So
I realize this doesn't say anything about the computer display. So maybe we need to add that.
What do you mean by computer display?
The,
I'm
The
sorry.
digital display.
the digital
it says
display.
including
Oh,
the
the
library's
Apple or the
it
Pi?
says the library's
here.
digital
Yes.
board.
Okay. Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe we do need a form. I don't know. Is this the last page? I think it is. No, it's not.
No. 2 more.
If we want to deal with this. And there's also the waiver, which like maybe a sentence in the programming could be included to say, you know, we have this waiver form that groups need to fill out or something like that.
You're meaning the general liability waiver?
Yeah.
I have
I'm
that
just
on one
thinking
of our
what's-
notes.
Okay.
I have that on my note to review
Okay.
for a form. I also have like the filming photography form.
Okay.
Uh,
just thinking-
so in this one, I felt like there was a lot of redundancy in the second and third paragraphs. So I just tried to reduce the language in out-of-state residents. They're pretty much almost like non-resident people too. And so
Can
I
I
just-
just resolve?
I
those
don't know what
comments?
that is. That's not me, so I don't know sure what that means. So I didn't put that in, so I didn't address that. I just did some rewording, so.
Yeah. So let me. I
I
have to
feel like
scroll
this
down.
was from one of our meetings. In the notes that we had. So rather than losing it, we copied it over and put it into a note
Okay.
of
Can I?
conversations and
re-
options.
So I think
Oh,
this
good,
is
it
very
went away.
redundant, possible revision if you accept that. And if we
Okay.
read that, if it feels okay. It felt to me like the non-resident, or maybe not the non, I don't know. It felt redundant to me. I was trying to figure out how to reconcile it, so.
We could just say Hubbardston Public Library follows the code of regulations allowing access to materials for residents and non-residents alike, or something like that.
So this was a matter of having moved it from out of states up to the top, correct? Because that
I don't
statement
know
was
that.
below.
I don't know that for sure. I did not move that, so.
So that statement was underneath the out of state residents. It's written. reads
It
as
appeared twice. So that's
twice.
why I deleted it.
I
So
see.
it appeared, the exact same verbiage appeared under Hubbardston Public Library
Exactly.
allows. So it appeared twice, so I
Mm-hmm.
deleted I think I deleted it. Or actually, I'm not sure what I did, but
So we could.
But
we
it's
could get
true
rid
that
of
it
it
should
here.
only appear once. So it's a matter of
Right.
where is it best placed. So having a very specific statement of for out of state residents, oh,
This is the key sentence here, that there's a state law that says this and we follow it.
correct. So we can resolve the Hubbardston Public Library follows the Code of Massachusetts regulations. It's in the top paragraph. It can be deleted from the out of state residents. It's already stated.
Okay, so this one can go, right?
That one can go
The bottom one.
all the way down to the not state certified. It's that is already stated, that entire to the end there.
Okay.
And this is such a small policy. I mean, to be quite honest, we could take out the headers of out of state residents. It's like 2 sentences. And likewise, residents without certified libraries. We could make this one policy with like, it depends on how you guys want it. But
There are some differences, right? Or maybe not.
so I feel like
what
there's like non-resident who are CWR's members, out of state people, and then
Mhm.
people who are members of uncertified libraries.
correct.
So there's 3 categories of people.
But what changes in them? Like I would imagine the non-resident people could still borrow materials, but the out-of-state and uncertified libraries, is there any difference between them? And I guess Crispy might be able to weigh on that. So,
As of right now, the majority of the libraries in the state are certified, and I think that the towns that aren't certified, I don't think even have libraries. So the only difference between out-of-state residents and residents of communities without certified libraries is the only way an out-of-state resident would get a library card is if they own property in Massachusetts. Um, a a resident of a town that has an uncertified library may possibly get, that library may be certified at some point and they would have access again.
Mm-hmm.
So the residents without a certified library may possibly have a library card. It just is not eligible for reciprocity because of a lack of certification. Whereas out of state residents, you're not going to get a library card unless you own property.
so there is a
Maybe-
difference, and so the difference
Yeah,
is
it's
between
minuscule.
out of state and resident seems valid. And so I wonder, is there a head? So Morgan, to your point, you were saying you consolidate them. Is it actually, it's such a short policy, but actually, do we add another heading that says like non-Hubbardston residents?
No,
For the
because
second
this
paragraph?
it's all non-Hubbardston. So non-resident,
Okay.
or we change the header, the title of it of non-Hubbardston resident, which seems kind of weird wording, but
And this part is for people who have CW Mars or one of the
correct.
other consortiums, right? Do you take a card that's not part of CW Mars? Okay.
Nope.
So then there's actually 4 people. There's
Oh, good Lord.
CW Mars that aren't Hubbardston. There's other consortiums. They have valid cards, but they're not in our consortium. And then there's out of state people, and then there's people who don't have a library in their town or a certified library in their town. But the
So is
main,
it non-Hubbardston library use policy?
No, because then it would read of like, is that meaning library use of other libraries? How
library
would that
use for
read?
non-residents.
I
mean, the-
think you're making it really complicated because
I think
if somebody's in another consortia, the chances of them coming to the Hubbardston Public Library to borrow something is minuscule.
Yeah.
They would much rather use the Comcat to just have it sent through interlibrary loan. Is it possible that they could do that? Yes, and then I would have to regretfully say you can't borrow here because you don't have a card. But again, it's the same thing like the out of state looking for an item. It hasn't come up yet, so I'm not sure.
Mhm.
Here's my thought is make the non-resident library use policy usable at the next meeting for the trustees, approve this policy, and then have this be like the first thing that you guys review on your annual go around.
Mhm. I mean, I think that one of the main things for this policy is that we do follow what the state says, that anybody can come into the library and use it.
Absolutely.
So that's like one of the main things. But then the other part is what people who don't live in Hubbardston or part of CW Mars, what they can't do.
I need to pause for a moment.
Yeah.
I will be back.
So I think I understand it a little bit better. I think it's way more complicated than it needs to be.
I mean, do we just say, yeah, that's hard, huh? But actually, no, let's think through this because we, in the library card policy, someplace up above, don't we talk about how you get a library card if you're a non-resident? Don't we talk about like if you're a CW Mars person, how you can use the library?
Mhm.
So we could say for a CW Mars card, for CW Mars members, see this policy, refer to the above. And then
Maybe this could just be put with the borrowing though. Because
it might
that's,
be with,
Yeah.
maybe it is
Because-
with the borrowing, you know?
That's
I mean,
a
it
good
feels like
idea.
that fits better there.
so we could consider moving it to incorporating this into the borrowing policy, where there'll just be a section that says if you're an out-of-state resident, you can't borrow books, but you can use the library or something like that.
Right. And then maybe, yes, and then maybe you have that opening sentence, like Hubbardston Public Library follows the Code of Massachusetts regulations at the top of the borrowing policy. But, as an opening sentence, right?
Mm.
Then
So
you can
I'm jumping-
probably, like, so
I'm
maybe
jumping-
this sentence goes towards the top.
Yeah.
This gets moved. We can delete this probably.
Mhm.
We have a thing for out-of-state residents and then residents of communities without certified libraries. I don't know if that works or not.
So we're thinking of getting rid of the non-residential, and moving sections of this that would specifically pertain. So the borrowing would go to the borrowing policy, and then, so for instance, the second paragraph of Hubbardston Public Library follows the Code of Massachusetts would go under facility and use. Where would
No,
that
the
fit?
whole- These items in this currently separate policy will be incorporated into the borrowing policy because it does have to do with borrowing.
So
I think that makes sense.
yes, and so it's not just the borrowing though, that so there was, and there should have been a section in this with regards to, So access to programming, I thought that was stated in this. So I'm trying to remember.
We
Yeah.
could make sure it's listed in those sections too, the law saying that anybody can, like, you don't have to be a resident to come into the library.
So the Hubbardson Public, I think that this is going into a conversation and it's more than just a simple edit. So again, I'm going to
Mhm.
kind of reiterate that my feeling on this is that we bring this back to a process of editing and review. There's some comments being made about moving it and taking it out as a policy on its own. And again, the non-resident library use policy was intended more than just simply borrowing, but a matter of who can use, who can access, and to what degree. There were a number of up to like 4 or so different groups. One of the comments right before I left was, I think as a matter of simplifying it, and I feel like it could be a very simple statement policy of like the out-of-state residents and the residents of communities without certified libraries, I feel like those headers could go away, because I feel like then it's like, well, what other group did we leave out? And we could simplify what the statement is. But the purpose of this was who has access to the library, and not just a matter of borrowing, but who has access to the library, including programming. And
I
or
think this came up, oh, sorry.
and or who can come in and access things such as the computer and things like that. So that's the purpose of this. It's beyond just simply borrowing. So it encompasses the different umbrellas of who has access to it, who can use equipment, things like that. So that's, I think it goes under having further consideration.
I think this came up because they were worried that some towns were going to start, not funding their libraries, and this was going to become more of an issue. So we just kind of added it on as a separate policy. So maybe it needs to stay that way for the points that you just made. I don't know, but we can look into it.
I mean,
So
what if you couched it as like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if
I'm
this
going
will
to say
work.
that I apologize, but in a matter of time, we're now at 9:08. I do need, I need to kind of put a pin in, I think we only have like one more page, so I'd like to try, in the interest of saying that we saw the policies. I'd like to put a pin in the non-resident. I'd like to move on to the next page, and then I'd like to try to like reiterate, this document still needs further editing, more than
But
just
Connie,
grammar.
maybe you could put a comment in there with your thoughts,
And come
Yeah,
back to it.
sometime.
yeah. I'm trying. Yeah, I'll put it together. So
I think this is the last page. Yeah.
That is.
And these are all for the previous page.
So there is the to delete the and. So under section 3 of law enforcement will be contacted if a patron does not
Oh,
comply with
sorry.
library staff warnings, is acting verbally, physically abusive, or refuses to exit the library. And then
That's
the
here
comma.
too. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Page 29.
So with the trustees, kind of where we're standing, I feel like there are a few things. The last policy with regards to non-resident being one of them. And I actually thought that the addressing policy violations may have drawn more attention. The non-resident, let's go back, let's think about it. Krista, if you and I engage offline, and then I welcome all trustees, it's always open. The comprehensive policy should be a living document. Again, I'm going to reiterate that. Go in and make your comments. And I feel like using the note feature is the best way of having a pin in it of your thoughts. And then we can reconvene next Thursday. We can bring it up to the trustees and potentially set up a follow-up meeting. And then Krista, you and I can meet with regards to the general edits that there are notes being made, but you and I both wanted to address with regards to just headers, font, things like that. And there are some other notes that I think you and I can go over. Does that make sense?
Sounds
But
good
we
to
couldn't
me.
have done any of this without Connie's huge effort at proofreading, so thank you.
No,
Lily.
well, it took me like 4 months to do it, so like I feel bad that I was.
Yeah,
it
but
took me
you
so
did a
long.
great job.
So,
Thank you.
Okay. So any further comments? All right, then I will call. Do we need a motion to end the meeting?
motion to end.
Second,
Second,
all in favor? All right.
Bye.
Call the meeting to end at
I'm sorry, I think
9:11.
it has to be a verbal one
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
verbal.
because you're all remote. So Krista, I, so and
Aye.
so.
Krista, I.
Chris.
Connie, I.
Okay, and Morgan, I. All right.
Thank you, guys.